Shalom, everybody. Shalom. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to On Assignment for Alignment. This is the 15th episode. Oh my God. Y'all, I get so excited every time I just am shooting another video. But I am officially coming out of my depressive episode. And I'm ready to talk about something a little bit more upbeat. So let's get into it. I wanted to come on here and talk about my journey towards adjusting to being a civilian again. If you're new here, you haven't known, I was in the military for 5 years, and adjusting to becoming a civilian again after being told who I am, what to do for 5 straight years has been an adventure. It's been an incredible adventure. It's had its ups and downs, but all in all, I'm very grateful for this journey because I'm just all about starting over. I love a good starting over type of thing. You know, I'm finally at a point where I'm able to reflect on that journey, and I want to share it with y'all. So let's just get right into it. Y'all, okay, so October 28th was my official first day out of the Army, and that was 2021. So it's almost been a year since I've been out. So when I first got out, I remember during that time I was very confused on what I'm gonna do next. I remember taking my house off of the market back in like August of last year, and then I ended up pulling out of the contract because I'm like, I want to go to Germany. I want to do something fun with my life. I want to do something different. And then a few months later, I came back and I saw the houses going up, for the housing market, and I was like, oh no, I got to get back in. So I ended up taking another house off of the market. It was the same exact house, just in a different location. And sorry, I got some on my lip. But it was a link from this damn microphone. But so I ended up taking the house that I'm living in now off of the market. And it was only supposed to take until January 22nd for my house to be done being built, but it ended up extending all the way into the end of February for my closing date, which was fine, but it still just had me feeling very much in limbo. And then, I had my house off of the market or whatever, but at the same time, it's like when you get out the Army, they put so much pressure on you. Everybody want to know what you're doing next, what you doing next, and if they make you feel like you can't really be anything without the Army. And my thing is, like, in my head, I'm like, I'm about to do this, that. I'm thinking about these different career fields. I was in human resources in the Army, so that was like my first thought was to be human resources, And when I got out, it was just hard. I was like, what I'm gonna do? I done signed up for all of these programs for me to get into a new career field, and it's like none of it was making me feel like I would be happy with my life, and I spent 5 years being unhappy in the military, and I just didn't want to go into another field and be just as unhappy, so that was very difficult for me to deal with and very challenging, especially with all of the pressures of people asking me like what I'm doing next. And it's like I just was saying anything, honestly. I was like, I'm going to hair school, I'm going to college, I'm gonna go finish my degree, I'm like this and that, I'm going to real estate school to get my real estate license. I done did so much in my brain. I was like, I'm just gonna keep doing human resources, I'm going to Germany. It was just so much going on. Like, nobody knew what I was doing because I didn't know what I was doing, and then it was just a point in time where I was like, I just want to travel for a year, forget planting roots or whatever. But I finally came to my senses, took my house off the market, and I kept going, right? And in the midst of me waiting on my house to be finished and complete, I went home to Charlotte to help my parents move into their retirement home into a different state. And that was a whole lot of emotions. I remember when they actually sold the house and we had to move out and clear the house out. It was a lot. It was very emotional because it's like, this is the house I grew up in, now it's gone, now it's sold. And it's just different. But now I went back with my parents to the new house that they live in now, and it was cool. I was able to travel and go between their house and go and see my friends in Charlotte and hanging out with my friends and going to see different family members and stuff. And it was good. It was a good little run. I had a good run. I remember during that time, I don't know, I just feel like I was focused on so many things outside of myself. Just becoming acclimated with being a civilian again. I was focused on a lot of stuff out of myself, like dating, being in touch with old people from my past and stuff. And it's like, I just feel like I was focused on all of the wrong things, but I gotta be able to give myself grace for that because, boom, I hadn't been a civilian for 5 years, so I feel like I'm just missing out on all of these things. So I'm like trying to get reacquainted with the things that I felt like I was missing out on. And even when I even got into my house, I still was in limbo about what I was gonna do next and all of those things. And eventually I came to the idea of my podcast because I'm like, I wanted to be a creative. I wanted to, I am a creative. So, I obviously have a gift, and I want to nurture it. I want to keep it going. But it's like, girl, you got to focus on that, and now I'm like, okay, I'm going to focus on this. And I started my podcast and, I'm being consistent. I'm doing what I have to do. And now that I'm like towards the end, not towards the end, but towards the end of the year, that's what I mean. And towards the time of me coming up on my 1 year anniversary of being out of the Army, I'm looking back at myself and I'm like I've been reviewing the year of me being out of the Army, and I'm like, you've come so far, but I'm also on the other side of that beating myself up like, you should have been focused, you should have been working like at an actual job, you should have been doing this and that, and you should have been in school, like, you know what I'm saying? And while those things can be true, I gotta also look back at the fact that I accomplished so much. I literally have a house. I furnish most of my house. I got closer to my family, closer to my friends. I started a podcast and I'm being very consistent. And I'm still working to get my feet on the ground and be grounded and understand that this is a life that nobody is going to wake me up at 6:30 in the morning and tell me where to be. I have to do that for myself now, and it's been difficult, but and that's what's making me beat myself up about it. But I also have to remember that I'm a strong person. I'm a resilient person. I made it through the military. I remember when my basic training graduation, I remember like being, I remember that being very symbolic to the fact that I know that anything that I put my mind to, I can do it and I can make it, and it can become something for me, so that's how I pretty much feel about that, but now I'm in a stage where I'm like, okay, I'm reviewing everything that I've done this past year since being out of the military. Now I'm like, okay, I feel like I have my feet on top of the ground. And now I'm like, all right, how do I get my feet in the ground so I can build an even more solid foundation, right? And now I'm like, okay, I want to go back to work. I'm focusing on getting a job and going back to work, getting back into my field of human resources, and continuing. And now I'm like, I'm seeing where I was missing the mark at and where I was placing my focus in the wrong places. And now I'm like, I want to place my focus all the way on me now. This is me. This is my time to focus on me. And honestly, most of the agony that I felt outside of the outside factors that I couldn't control this year, like the transitions in my family, the physical transitions from life to death in my family that we've had this year. Other than that, most of me not feeling at peace this year was my own fault. And I have to be able to take that responsibility, but also give myself grace. Like, babe, this is your first year out. You have so much more time to go. And now you can be grateful that you're the type of person that can look back and reflect on what you weren't doing and be able to course correct and come back to a new conclusion of, well, this is what you want to do now. So make a plan and follow it and get your life together, And I'm also a very hard-headed person because my daddy was telling me, like, you need to get a job. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But I think that for me, I'm the type of person I have to be able to listen to something in my body. If my body not telling me to do it, I'm not doing it. Because I just know when the right time for stuff is. And now I'm like, all right, I have all of these beautiful connections and resources that the Army has given me in order for me to get a good paying job. But now it's just time for me to use them, and also just looking back, I needed this time to kind of just get my feet on the ground because they just have been on somebody else's ground for so long, and I needed to see what it was like for them to be on my own territory, my own ground, my own property, so I'm grateful that I had this year to kind of just go with the flow and yes, build a foundation, but also be able to look back at what's missing from my foundation so that I can move forward and just continue to give myself that grace, because at the end of the day, I'm me. I'm never going to be anybody else in this life, and I don't want to take myself for granted. I don't want to ever do anything else because somebody else is telling me to do it. I want to do it because it's coming from my heart, it's coming from my spirit, it's coming from God and what He is telling me when I'm in my own silence, right? And also just, I've been in therapy for 3 years now, since 2019. I remember I started going to her when I got back from Germany. So that's 2019. And now I'm seeing that I need to be in therapy every week, because I was in therapy for 3 years, but I also have been like missing. I wasn't going to therapy on a weekly basis. And now I'm starting to see that I need to be in therapy on a weekly basis. I need to be there figuring out solutions. And I'm realizing that my time in therapy has been very much like I would only go to therapy when I felt like I had myself together. And now I'm like, all right, are you seeing that you need to take your mental health a lot more seriously, and you need to be in therapy every single week. You need to be on her couch every single week, and you need to be figuring out these problems. And because you don't want to drag old habits and behaviors into new situations. I feel like I've had a shift after this most recent depressive episode, because I just been reflecting on everything that I didn't do, and it's been depressing. It has been depressing, but the good thing about it is that I can identify it and I can move forward and I can see what needs to take place next. So now I'm like, yes, you need to be on her couch every week. You need to be taking your ADHD coping mechanisms very seriously. You need to be getting more in tune with your emotions and, figuring out where to go from there rather than, going to her and feeling like you have everything together. And I feel like, oh, wow, I'm actually realizing this now. Like I'm finally realizing that I trust my therapist. I trust her to be there. Like I've always said, oh, I love my therapist. Like I trust her, but I feel like I'm realizing that I actually do trust her, and I actually feel comfortable coming to her about what I'm really feeling now, and I felt like in the past when I was going to her, I was only going to her not only when I feel like my stuff is together, but when I feel like I figured out the issue on my own. And the point of therapy is for her to help me figure it out, right? So, oh wow. I'm actually very grateful that, yeah, it may have taken me 3 years to finally trust my therapist, but I trust her now, and I can finally move forward, and I can be like, you know what, this is how I'm feeling. And I know that I don't want to be on no type of toxicity no anymore in my life, So, so even speaking of that whole thing, like of me being in a toxic mindset and having toxic patterns that, hold me back in life, I'm realizing that, I only have the capacity for myself right now. I don't really have the room for like new friends. I don't really have the room for, I barely got the room for the friends that I already have, I don't really have the room for like relationships, and I want to. That's the whole point. Like I want to have room for that. I want to be able to reciprocate energy and receive it, and receive good energy and receive love, and I want to be able to give it as well, but I can't do that if I'm constantly allowing these toxic behaviors and patterns to ruminate and really self-sabotage shit that I got going into my life. And it's like, no, what we're gonna do is get some help. We're gonna talk about it. We're not gonna go to our therapist just when we feel like we got it together and we got it figured out. No, we're gonna talk to her. We're gonna tell her like, this is what I'm feeling right now, and I need some help with this, because I want to become the woman that I'm ready to step into the woman that I see myself being, right? And just being honest and being real and being transparent with myself and my therapist is, what's gonna help me. And I remember on Insecure when Molly would go to her therapist and she would lie to her. It's so crazy. And I'll be like, girl, you gonna tell her the truth, And for me personally, I'm feeling like Molly right now. You know what I'm saying? Bozo the damn clown. Joke's on me. Okay? But no more lying to my therapist. No more lying. I'm gonna tell her what's really wrong, what's really going on. And it's so crazy because being in Aquarius is so real. Like it took me so long to really finally like open up to her. It's 3 years, and I feel like now she finna start seeing like a whole different side of me, and she gonna be like, I thought maybe not though, because she's this is her job, her profession. And also my therapist is very much like, I'm not gonna force you to talk about anything until you are ready. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really grateful for her in that aspect. And she tells me all the time, I trust you to not figure it out, but I trust you to, she told me, she said, I trust you to move forward. Basically, she basically was saying, I trust you to move forward, and I trust you to not allow anything to sabotage all of the growth that you've made, and I'm not sitting here saying that I haven't made any growth, because just even expressing to her the things that I've been through and that I'm that I've gone through and that I've figured out on my own, quote unquote, that was huge for me, because I'm not a very open person. I let people know what I want them to know, but I'm not a very open person. So yeah, now it's time to really get down to the nitty gritty and talk to her about what's really going on, and I am super excited about that. I'm not gonna lie. I just can't wait to go to my session on Friday because she is the best therapist ever. I got really blessed with a therapist that understands me and wants to see me be better. So now I'm like, ma'am, I'm ready to really talk about what's going on in my life. I really am. And I honestly, I couldn't be more grateful, but I did just want to, come on here and talk to y'all about that, so now it's like, it's time for me to really look myself in the mirror and really get real about the fact that I'm ready to step into who I see myself being and not being scared to step into that woman, because, scared money don't make no money, so I feel like it's the same thing about like becoming a woman, like the woman that you see yourself being. And it's so cool. Like I feel like I'm like turning over a new leaf, finally hopping into who I see myself being. I feel like I keep saying that, but yeah, that's genuinely how I feel. I'm excited though, because I feel like this entire year was like a test run, and now it's like, okay, boo, you finna come up on your 1 year of being out of the Army, and it's time for you to really propel forward and do your thing, and be responsible, be an adult, and really just truly invest in yourself in all areas: money, your podcast, your dreams, but also your mental health and your spirituality. Like, I'm a strong believer in, to make my relationship with God be healthier, I got to take care of my mental space as well, because spirituality and mental health go hand in hand, but you can't have a good one without the other, in my personal belief, and I feel like me having a healthy mental space will allow me and God to become closer, because even when I hadn't prayed in about 1.5 weeks, 2 weeks, and I was in my depressive episode, and it's like, if I was actually paying attention to the fact that, not even paying attention, because I know I have depressive episodes, I know that, but actually tending to them and understanding that when they come along, all right, stop. What do we need to do before this goes too deep, and it's too deep for us to come out of, to the point where we can't even go to God? You know what I'm saying? So now I'm like, all right, we're going to have to talk to her about this. We're going to have to talk about this. We're going to have to really just get to the nitty gritty. But I'm excited about it, because I'm always willing to put in the work to be a better person and be a better me. And honestly, I'm just here to share it with y'all. And even with my podcast, I'm like, I feel like I had like a certain expectation of my podcast, and now I'm just like, we just gonna go with the flow. However we feeling that day, that's what we gonna talk about, and that's what we gonna chop it up to. And I feel myself becoming like more comfortable on here, just even without like notes and stuff. And it's like, I want to just share my journey. That's really what this is all about. It's crazy, because when I was going in between names for the podcast, I was like, Share My World was one of the options for the name, but On Assignment for Alignment just like stuck, and everybody was like, no, you got to do it on Assignment for Alignment, because that's so you, like that's who you are, like that's something that you would name it. So I'm like, okay, but it's so fitting, On Assignment for Alignment. And it's so crazy, because that's how I feel, and it's so intentional, and that's how I live my life, just being on assignment for alignment. Like, I'm aligned every second of the day. I am aligned, even when it doesn't feel like it, because just even the fact that I can create content out of what I'm experiencing shows that I am on assignment for alignment, that I'm in alignment at all times. And I want to continue to be in alignment. And I'm so proud of myself for being able to reflect and review this last year, because it's been rough. It's been challenging, but it's also been so beautiful and incredible and amazing. And I'm just grateful that I'm able to reflect and course correct, because now it's like, bitch, we finna take over. We've got to really just hone in on our lane, talking about me, myself, and I and go full throttle, get us a job, go back to work, create content in the mix, just get closer to God, go to therapy every single week, period. And just make sure that we stand on top of our stuff, period, you know. And you know, I'm grateful, for real. Now I'm like, we gotta make sure that we own our stuff, and we are continuing to keep going. And you know, because I feel like and just create a better relationship with myself. And that's part of the relationship with myself, is me calling myself out, me being able to reflect and look myself in the mirror and say, all right, cool, you've got this far by, you know, being who you are, but now it's time to take it a step further and step into who you know you can be. Yes, you are who you are, but step into who you know you can be. And stepping into who you know you can be requires action. And that's cool, okay? Like you know how to balance yourself, you know how to rest, you know when you need to relax, and get into it, and enjoy it while you're doing it, you know. So yeah, I am about to wrap this up. We're gonna wrap up the 15th episode of On Assignment for Alignment with Ayo Naima. I am Ayo Naima. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram at AYONAIMA_. And on TikTok at AYONAIMA_OAFA. And email me for questions. Thank you to whoever requested for me to get a code for me to speak to my listeners live. I don't know how that works. I'm gonna figure it out. But yes, that's coming soon as well. Thank y'all again for over 200 downloads on the podcast. Thank y'all for 13 subscribers. And honestly, y'all, I've been looking at my analytics on YouTube, and the difference between now and back then is like I had a lot of videos, but people weren't watching them all the way through. Now I'm looking at my watch time and I'm like, yeah, people are watching my videos all the way through, and that's making me very happy and very excited. So thank y'all so much for watching my videos and listening all the way through. That means that I'm saying something that's resonating with the girls. And I'm really excited, y'all, to see where this is going to take us, where we going next with it. Just thank y'all for being patient with me. Thank y'all for messing with the show. You know what I'm saying? And thank y'all for everything, for all the listens, all the views, everything. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, download, share, favorite, everything that you got to do to make sure we get the message out, get the message across. And thank y'all so much once again. I'll see y'all on the next one. TTYL.